child's fright, something that I pushed far away. Where did you go when I needed you most? When I looked in your eyes, you turned them away. Where did you go when I needed you most? When I looked in your eyes, you turned them away. And there's nothing I can't say. You turn them away. You turn them away. And there's nothing I can't say. Time has rendered us broken, and I wanted to be free, because then I'd be off the hook and you would have no one to blame.
All right. Sorry. Come on, Chrome. I don't know what I'm starting with. I guess I'll like. What level are you now, Chrome? Yeah, I'm good, thanks, buddy. Hey, Blaze. Debating whether I want to go. I'm debating whether I want to go. Oh, I'm dead. But to what? Oh, I not wait. Why don't we res at graveyard? I just don't know if I want to do SM farm. Or if it's on a quest for a bit. That's the main thing. The downside is if you want a quest, at level 33, where do I go? I guess there's a early STV I can do. So Aaron, as a favor to Aaron, I did a sub goal. Thanks, Liffy. Great job commentating, by the way. Getting wrecked by, what do you mean wrecked by botters? I mean, I can, because I wanted to do like retail stuff at the same time. So I like don't know if like farming SM is a great way to do that, because I just have to AFK at different times, right? Personally, I feel guilty about it, DOS, but at the time we were technically like if you take out tier 3 subs and stuff, it was below the 1104, which is huge, by the way. Level 18? Well, level 18 isn't even the fun part. You're missing out on the fun part of it. So I can technically solo some of this, but it's kind of annoying to do and not super efficient. Is the downside. No, I know. I know people just go all the way to max on SM alone. I heard them all aggro. Not a huge deal. You just walk out. Kind of annoying though at the same time. Although they're still. Craig will live pretty well. Kind of funny that we're strong enough to kill two mobs that are both higher level than me. Oh, the same level as me? What level am I? Am I 32 or 33? I'm 33. Feels really shitty, like kind of shitty not having a. Feels kind of shitty not having explosive. Explosive feels really fun. Not having explosive kind of sucks. No way. That's annoying. Those pats are in it. I don't know. I feel like questing sounds okay. What do you get? How do you get Rick by botters? Well, I'm just telling what I want to do, basically. Like, I want to do stuff on retail at the same time. I don't want to just do SoD right now. So I'm debating whether I want to just like the 3 pats suck. We're gonna just kill all of it. Oh, fucking resist, man. Why is it Port Petty to there? Share your thoughts on the LePomp versus GG game. So I saw that entire series. And I think the other thing from their point of view, what are they afraid of? And then try and figure out what you should plan to it. I honestly think, personally, I don't know much. I feel like Wiz is insane at all classes, right? I feel like if they were willing to play Rogue, Lock, Shaman, they would have had a substantially better chance at winning. Because I feel like Wiz is a good distro. Am I wrong? Can Wiz? I feel like they have that, and I feel like Wiz is more than good at it, right? I could be wrong though. I mean, I know I've seen him play Lock before. Maybe he doesn't currently play it. But for my point of view, that was the comp that I thought was most likely to be good for them, because it doesn't get dampened. And the only way and I feel like Warlock is also hard to actually connect to long enough, and also they have the ingredients they need to. But the way you fuck over Fist, this might pick got destroyed here. Oh my god, Hetty, please. Why is Petty so dead, man? Wasn't he full HP before I started? Yeah, I mean, if they have well, I mean, Jelly plays for sure Demo. I thought I saw was on both, I guess. But either way, you can't play Demo into that. Demo is never gonna work. They the reason why Fistweave is so annoying to everyone. I guess I'll go to like somewhere, I don't know where, and start leveling. Hillsbred Earthy. Could do Shimmering. I'm gonna have to Shimmering actually. I can actually fly Shimmering. I think I actually have flight paths and stuff there. But the reason why Fistweaver healing is so annoying is that they're the only healer in the game. Not only do Fistweavers like heal normally, but they also like they don't heal like their healing multiplies based on the number of targets they hit. So if they hit like 5 targets, their healing is 5x. They're just impossible to deal with. Well, actually, they don't hit that many. I guess it heals. It goes up to a certain number. I don't know how much cleave they have. There's a certain amount of cleave they get when they Phaline, and it makes it them. I mean, they already heal for enough single target, let alone when they hit 3. Unholy is a complete you simply cannot play Unholy into Fistweaver for that reason. It is the worst possible thing you can do. Because even like your pets also don't. Yeah, it's bad. What's Periwinkle? Is that the mastery thing, Cloak? What is it? It's just high. It's high mastery, low verse, right? I haven't been. It's not additional stats, right? We grouping some? Yeah, I've seen those. I'm not using it. Do I answer Fistweave? So like sorry, I'm explaining this really poorly. The way you fuck over Fistweave is to either kite them, and that's why I think Destro is good, because Destro can port and put them in awkward spots where they've got to run after them. And it's 15-second port's pretty annoying for that. So I feel like Destro has all the ingredients it needs, and Outlaw has all the ingredients it needs. And when you play Destro, Rogue, Shaman, the only exposed target that actually can't kite super well and avoid the Fistweaver to fuck over his healing, because that's kind of your main way of doing that, is the Shaman. They're kind of like reduced to attacking your Resto Shaman. But then you've got a Warlock spamming Fair and double coiling, and then you've got your Rogue, right? So I feel like it's still pretty decent in that spot. Maybe RLD is better. I imagine RLD is much better. But you want to have the ability to not stack, escape, and then this is the problem, right? Like Priest is so ideal because they can just attack, and there's also no follow-up Fair, right? You just Fair, and then that's it. They use one of their breaks like Sank or group Fair break from the Warrior, and then even a follow-up Fair for it. But Warlock's a bit different because Warlock can Fair, and then Fair again, and then Fair again. But yeah, you want to kite to get distance and force the monk to not be able to heal. There are plenty of comps that do that. Unfortunately, when you play a Shadow Priest and a Rogue into that, you're playing on hard mode because now the monk always has a target to connect to. You can't kite him. But it's like you get double value against a monk by CCing him, because you're CCing him and you're getting distance from him. So he comes out of that CC and you're also not standing there anymore to get punched right away. But it's really hard for a Shadow Priest to get distance. You can imagine there are situations, for example, where like if you're playing Rook Lock, the monk gets fed, and then the lock ports when he comes out of that fair, when he connects back to him, and then the rogue evasions, and then they double coil, and they just do a whole bunch of stuff where the monk has large periods of time where he is not able to dip into that healing. Because he can't just sit there and actually just do normal. Like other healers would just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna Riptide in this situation. I'm gonna drop a healing stream totem. I'm gonna Swiftmend, fucking whatever. Like you just have normal. Like other healers can just heal when they're not CC'd. Fistweave needs to connect to a target, and that's why Shadow Priest is like super unideal for that. So like them playing on map 2, they played. What did they play? On map 2, they played Mage, Shadow Priest, and that was almost okay. I actually think Mage Lock would be mostly fine into that. But Mage Shadow Priest is the same issue, right? You just have a person that can be they can basically isolate someone, and they can rely on that person being in a pretty consistent spot to spam proc healing off of. I feel like Sturge's Ardor was good. I mean, see, the thing is, I don't think mage. I don't hate the idea. Like in principle, it ticks some of the boxes to play a comp like Mage Lock or Mage Shadow Priest, but it like, cause you basically bring polymorph, right? And you like some degree of kiting into the mix, but that comp doesn't have the lethality it needs. You're not hitting them. You're not punching them hard enough. You're controlling them a little bit harder, but honestly, there's actually like a bit of a, there's like a design issue. Like almost none of the mage specs actually CC right now. Like all of the mage specs want to just sit there and AoE and dampen. Like Arcane Mage wants to use Barrage. Fire Mage, most of the Fire Mages just sit back and like run away, like spam PV damage and just kite as much as they can. And they want to reset combust as fast as they can. And then Frost wants to like orb and Blizzard. So like you like you can't really like you kind of get in the way of your like, in principle you take a mage to try and polymorph the monk, but in reality you want to AoE. So it gets really awkward to actually control against that team. Like the mage is not going to get the kind of influence he wants over the game. That's your problem, I think. So like as a result, none of the mage specs play like the old version of Mage Lock. I feel they just aren't controlling as often, and if they are, they're not offensive. So that was the issue there. They didn't have the punching power they needed to actually finish a game. Maybe if it was Mage Lock, because they could kite at different times, but yeah. I mean, Fistweave design is really frustrating, like horribly frustrating. It is frustrating for the monk when they play against the teams that can fuck with them, and it is frustrating for everyone else when they play against a team that just can't get away from them. If you can't deny their healing for long enough, it's just incredibly frustrating to play against because their healing is so overwhelming. Unfortunately, that design is it's rough. Why isn't there more counter picks? Do you think teams just pick one comp? That's an interesting one. I don't know the answer to that. That's a deeper question, right? In order to answer that correctly, we have to kind of look back at when the last time that you saw lots of counter comps come out. And I want to say Legion was the last time you had extreme counters to things. I don't know. I think in general, the design philosophy that devs have taken over the last several expansions, many expansions, is like patching up your weaknesses. So classes don't have extreme weaknesses anymore, and therefore you don't end up having like as many counters pop up. Like, I feel like when a mage was taking damage from melee before, they were getting fucking destroyed at all times, you know? And those days are long gone. DK buffs? Nah, we ain't getting DK buffs, man. No one thinks the DKs are getting buffed. This is a quest out there is not. Am I supposed to have a better quiver right now? 10 slot. It wants me to have. You just got nerfed. I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, well, they got over nerfed, and like there's a lot of data. There's a lot of data to suggest they got over nerfed, and it's one of those spots where Blizzard made a very big sweeping change. So like, look at Sub-Rogue, right? Look how, to give you an example of how massive the changes actually were. Look at Sub-Rogue. Sub-Rogue only took a small nerf to Eviscerate. 10% was all they took. That was the only nerf that Sub-Rogue took. They went from being on in every game to being in no games. The bigger change was 10% more health for the entire, like for everyone. Everyone getting 10% HP was the biggest change. But, yeah, difficult. Do I have this quest? They didn't have to vest twice, kinda. But the bigger change I think was that everyone got health. So they like. My point is that the DK nerfs are one thing, but the bigger change was the fact that everyone got more HP. I guess the armor changed too. I don't know if I have this, but I guess I'll check. Yeah, but they were still overwhelmingly strong after the first of this change. You're not wrong, but I'm just saying for this last one, they went from being in every game to like one day, and the next day they were gone, and everyone thought they felt kind of weak. And I think the biggest kind of change there was just the fact that it says I have this, but I don't know if I do. Are we sure we actually have this quest? I don't think I have that quest. Yeah, we'll go back this way. Oh no, DK's got over enough. There's tons and tons of data. There's so much. I mean, I'd like to SM with you, Chrome, but I also don't know. Like, I want to do shuffles and stuff, as well as this. I don't want to just do this. I'm not in a huge rush in that sense. So maybe I should just level as normal. But yeah, they basically over enough, because if you look at like there's a whole bunch of different websites that track like win rates and all that kind of thing, and they went from having a real DKs were strong, they needed to be nerfed, but they got nerfed not once but 4 times at the same time, and they're all more substantial than the 10% nerf to Abyss on Rogue, and they also had all their opponents got 10% health. And the thing is, DKs didn't have the most consistent kill pressure of any class in the game. They actually had some of the weaker kill pressure in the game. They don't have any CC fundamentally, so like you get to a spot really quick where you're not going to kill stuff as a Death Knight unless the other team is totally and that's a really rough win condition to be stuck into. You don't have the, like, you know, look at Outlaw. Outlaw doesn't have the most finishing power of any class in the game, but it has tons of control, and that control can yield you kills, right? You're able to set up and you're able to like CC healers more actively and stuff. I mean, DKs aren't fucked. DKs are objectively not fucked. They're fucked for ABC. I'm speaking not from the point of view of a person playing. There are DKs playing at high, like medium to high ratings on ladder. Like you can play DK to 2800 on ladder and stuff, but they just lost their niche competitively, and that's brutal because they had that before that change. Yeah. I don't have a problem. Like if there were no tournaments going on right now, I would shrug and be like, whatever, it's fine, and I continue to play my Death Knight and enjoy it. I mean, I play my Death Knight a decent amount as is, right? They just don't have a place competitively, really, sadly. Exactly. It didn't go from S tier to S tier to D tier or something. It's not the worst spec in the game. Well, it's not the greatest spec. I think balance has been pretty good overall. Like, they've done a pretty good job overall with balance. All Blizzard did was take DKs, which were part of an S plus tier type. They were going to be overwhelmingly part of the meta, and they put them in a spot where they were not, which feels super arbitrary, because usually when they nerf a spec, they don't take them out of the meta entirely like that. I mean, they're on ladder, they have counters and stuff, and that's just life, right? I don't have that quest. Talk to Kravel. Fuck is Kravel at? I can do the quest over, I think. Yeah, no, actually, I was gonna say Hunters got hit just as hard or harder than Death Knights did. For whatever reason, they really dislike, like, Hunters haven't been allowed to go into. Well, Hunters are probably in the same spot. I imagine Hunters are just as frustrated, because they also would have been meta, I think. I mean, you gotta look at what we're. I think generally the way that you approach things is you have a main comp, which ours is Rogue Moonkin, and then you look at what adaptations you can make. Now, unfortunately, cleave as a playstyle, it's not just Death Knights here, but for the most part, and you're gonna see tomorrow probably, right? So that cleave beat RLS, and that RLS is like they're super good into RLS, right? That is an immobile caster. They have to adapt a little bit to beat. We'll see what they can do basically to beat Mage Rogue. Both I think two of the 4 teams that remain on NA, 2 of them have Mage Rogue, 3 of them have have Rogue Lock. And the question is, how do they do into those comps? And my assumption is that those comps will be considerably harder for them to deal with. That's what I think. Playing as Hunters is frustrating. Yeah, it makes me wonder if they should. Their damage is not stoppable is the problem, right? And they have decent CC. I don't know. It's weird because for a very, very, very long time, like I mean a really long time, Blizzard were able to actually balance them correctly. Something happened. I don't know what it is. But if you look at the game, like the game's trajectory over time, the meta always seemed quite broad. And then something happened in BFA. I don't know if it's us or if it's Blizzard, but something happened in BFA that made it really difficult for them to adequately like when I say that, what I'm trying to say here is this: the meta is usually pretty broad, but the number of valid playstyles is usually pretty narrow nowadays. So like right now we're overwhelmingly in a rogue melee meta, right? Or a melee caster meta. That's where we're going. And that's not a bad place for the meta to be. But we seem locked into like one specific playstyle being good and no other playstyles being good. If you look at like the game's history, going from Cataclysm, honestly going from Wrath all the way through to BFA, there were teams that just die hard cleaved, and there were teams that die hard caster cleaved, and there were teams that die hard rogue maged, and there were teams that die hard rogue locked, and they were fine. They could all exist inside of that meta. The meta had space for all of that shit. And it's just strange to me that, and same with Hunter comps, right? There were teams that would just die hard, like they mained their shit and that worked. But the meta isn't as inclusive anymore. You think information's the only reason? I don't know if I agree with that. It's possible it's us, 100%. But I don't know if I think that's more likely. But I think it was Shadowland. No, it was BFA. I think BFA was where you started to see the like Shadowland. Yeah, it got weird in BFA. I think it was when you suddenly started to see the meta like hone in on one playstyle at a time. But yeah, it could be information. But now, like right now, for example, and we'll see tomorrow. Like there is a cleave that currently exists in this tournament, right? It's possible that team is the fucking difference, and they do super well and they crush everyone. And if they do, awesome. That's something to focus on. That's something where I can maybe bring something to the table. But for the most part, it's just if you look at all the comps, it's caster melee. Lock X, Shadow Priest X, Mage X. And when I say Mage X, it really is Mage Rogue, and all those are basically either DH or Rogue with those comps. But no, I think DH is insane. Honestly, one of the main for NA, the DHs that play on NA are pretty underrepresented. You've got MVQ playing on EU. He's technically an EU DH, but he normally plays on NA, so he would normally have representation on that front. And then you've also got, I think Pekik's team would probably have a decent shot at being quite strong in the meta, but they don't
Melee
competing.
Hunter might be busted one of them, one-shot me in almost one-shot avenue in a bunch of fight plus shield tank, etc., etc.
Yeah, 100%, Av. 100%. Let me do it for you. I also have like 34 gold. I can mail you right now. You want me to mail it to you? Do you want me to Hearth or what? No, seriously. Oh, yeah, I'll get gold later on. It doesn't actually matter. I'm in no. Those mats? Let me just mail you gold, man. Or trade you gold. Where do we meet you? Where are you at? You're Undercity? Is there a way to get me there? Gold is pretty easy than you selling mats, man. It'll be faster. You'll come to me in Shimmering Flats. I need a mailbox. Though. I think I summoned to him. Ah, fuck, man. I'll buy a summon somewhere. Want to buy... let me see if we can do a UC one. Want to buy... Come on, Undercity, okay? It should still be faster. It doesn't actually matter. I can also just go across to something else. I won't have a queue for a long time after this anyway. I'll look for. I'm spamming for a summon, but I'm not. No one's responding right now. I'll get there though. It'll be faster than me logging on Warrior, I think. I should have 34G. Is that enough? I can get my damage up before this. No. Alright, fine. Alright, back to spamming. I got one. I'm go for 1k with full camera. Wow. This is a really good. This is Casca, man. Casca is an insanely good healer, Nick. I don't think SoD necessarily is taking that much from retail. But I mean, I think SoD's great at the same time. Casca is he actually fist weaving? I feel like he is. He's almost definitely fucking fist weaving, man. It's actually not an ideal fist weave scenario for him though, at the same time.
Any fisters?
That's currently what's happening. Oh, my essence break, man. Tragic. Perfect CC from Kesha on the fucking... And now I'm fit out of combat. It's really important to find a win against Casca, considering basically it's going to be impossible to win rounds with either of these guys against him. Like, he should just 6-0 this lobby, I think. But this is the one combination that can fight back. Oh no, that clone's kind of insane, but also kind of shit for me. I mean, it was on my essence break, but it is what it is. I think it's the right way to win the game. He doesn't have Link or anything, and I've already darknessed. I actually had Trinket again. Yeah, we're gonna have trouble. That's I think he will 6-0 this lobby super easily. If we can't win that one. Maybe the Hunter was better than the Lock though. Honestly, the Shaman actually had more healing. Oh. My trading. Alright, Av, I'm in the right area now, roughly. I got... Oh no. It's actually very possible this guy's just giving up. Really though? We can win, man. Yeah, he gave up. It's actually kind of crazy it's happening at this rating though. That or he's given up after one singular round with me. Nah, it's stupid. I mean, he's not enjoying it. So I have 30 goals. Is that enough, Ev? Well, I'm gonna tank a ton here. Doesn't actually matter, I don't care. I lost nothing because I got 2 out of 3. No, 2 out of 4. I mean, it tracks that he might have DC considering he could have. Do you ever into a shuffle? I mean, he may not. He may have just DC'd it. Like his what he did, like leaving after 4 rounds, is consistent with the DC. Where are you at, Ev? Can I see you? Am I layered from you? Oh wow. 23 Agi is fucking wild. I'm not in shuffle right now. You're upstairs. Oh. Okay. How much you need? You want all this? You just give me a quick. Just give me a quick if you don't need. If you don't need any. I got this much. You need 10? That's all you need? I mean, I don't need more than 10 myself, so. For like, just 10. Alright, fine. So I know Unholy Blight being bug right now. Yes, but what do you know about it? I personally don't want to spread that one around too much because they're aware of it, but yeah, I've spoken to Blizz about that one already. If you use Blight normally, you shouldn't run into any weird situations. If you use it in a different situation, then it can be used in some interesting ways. But I wouldn't recommend. I mean, I just don't recommend pushing it. The bug with Blight's pretty major. How did you find out about it? I mean, I'd rather just not spread it because I'm not abusing it actively myself. If it's not like widespread, I'd rather not talk about it, just in the sense of like they're trying to fix it as fast as they can type thing. But it's the weekend. People talk. If it's not widespread, I'm not trying to feed into that. Again, it's not, and that's not to protect it. It's that I'm actively not abusing it. Oh, maybe it's common enough knowledge. Basic. I still don't like spreading bugs, to be honest. Yeah, they broke an interaction with it, I guess, about a week ago. I'd say worried. I mean, worried DH seems better, I think, Sketty, than DH stuff, or sorry, the DK stuff at the moment. Hey, Beggar, how you doing today, man? You playing some SoD, Beggar? I guess I could do like one group, but I do want to do shuffles at the same time. I also just like randomly solo stuff, I suppose. I wonder if it's efficient for me at this level to solo like the other instance. But yeah, so the situation with Death Knight right now is they're not great in terms of. They're not bad in the normal sense, but they don't have. I mean, they just aren't tanky enough for competitive play. Is your main issue? I think you can't really just be a class that just literally gets fucking crushed by every class. There's like not a single class you're actually tanky into at the moment. Nothing. You get crushed by physical. Like basically, I mean, a lot of the DK issues could like DKs have been in this position many times before, but Deathstrike normally does a better job. Like there's a really small, very delicate scale on Deathstrike being perfect and Deathstrike being OP. And right now we're at a point where it's like, it is not nearly enough for incoming damage. Normally, you know, you go back to, let's say BFA. BFA was an interesting situation for Deathstrike, where they buffed it by a lot because DKs were getting crushed. Kind of like now, similar situations right now. You just basically got destroyed by a lot of classes. And Deathstrike wasn't enough to heal through anything. And what they did was they changed it to make it drastically more powerful. And then there's still a situation where it's weak, DKs traditionally are bad into things like Arms Warriors, where they aren't bursting you. Like you're taking your health. Like the damage you take happens over 10 seconds. DKs are really good, like traditionally, like look at DKs historically anyway. They're really good at dealing with stuff that attacks within the death strike windows. Like a rogue mage, the reason why DKs have always been tanking into rogue mage is because they get kidney or cheap shot. And then they try and get 100 Ode inside of that window, right? Like a rogue mage tries to one-shot you inside of a cheap shot or inside of stunned, yeah. And for that reason, your death strike window, death strike looks at the damage you've taken in the last 5 seconds, and it does a percentage of that back in healing. So like DKs were really bad at dealing with warriors, where like half of the damage, like they would take most of the damage over 10 seconds instead of over 5 seconds, and really good into things like rogue mage, where they got busted like 100 0 in 5 seconds, and then the death strike was big if they survived the stuns. Or casters, like they had moments they could heal through casters because they would take huge spike, you know, like double GPI mage, for example, against Death Knight. You remember back in like in BFA, you play against double GPI mage and they would spam 2 GPIs. They do like 70% of your health. They would do like, if they got 2, they could get 2 GPIs off each during your during that window and give you like a 150% fucking modifier in your death strike. But nowadays, the ratio for, and honestly, when it's actually super interesting, because at the start of the expansion, when I did I did a whole bunch of beta testing, and death strike was actually kind of really shit. Anyway, the things that stood out to me as being OP for Death Knights at the start of this expansion were AMS, Spell Warden, and Will of Necropolis. Right? Those 3 things were stupidly broken. All 3 of them were broken. But then Blizzard, for whatever reason, targeted Death Strike as well. Death Strike wasn't actually that good in Shuffle, but it took a hefty nerf as well, because they had this talent. If I can find the Death Knight to inspect. Here's one. This talent here. They halved it, and I wonder if it just wasn't great, because Death Strike already is nerfed in PvP. They actually nerfed Death Strike in PvP at the end of last expansion. So, yeah, I don't know. The other thing that's weird about, you know, I feel like Blizzard are, I feel like the people that develop PvP, and I'm not criticizing here, but I feel like they don't think about, like, if you like play a lot of tanks in PvE, you have an appreciation for what damage reduction is and what healing is, right? And they both kind of translate into the same thing. But DKs, if you look at the like damage taken on a Death Knight tank, like a blood tank, and compare it to like a warrior tank or a paladin tank, the Death Knight will take twice as much damage but do twice as much healing, basically. And what that tells you is, if you ask a developer how that works, the healing that Death Knights have is not actually healing, it's actually damage reduction. It's DR. And that's the thing that's confusing in PvP. Like, DR doesn't show up on scoreboard, but healing does. The healing that Death Knights do is actually the damage reduction. And, you know, like look at mages and like rogues, like have evasion and cloak and all those things. Those don't show up, right? You can't see how much damage they evasion. You can't see how much damage they cloaked. You can't see how much damage they vanished. You can't see how much damage a mage even alters, to be honest, because it's damage reduction. But yeah, Death Knights are in this weird spot where their DR is healing, and they just gutted their healing, so they don't have any DR at all, which is kind of rough. And that's my TED talk pretty much. But PvP dev doesn't seem to, the people that are PvP deving don't seem to understand the difference between damage reduction and healing. It doesn't seem. I imagine if you like talk to the guy that designs blood DK and tanks, they would explain adequately what all those things mean, and also why DKs need to have DR to deal with the shortcomings of their spec. I mean, you don't have any DR. Your class is built with that in mind. You don't have it. Yeah, the DKs are going to get crushed. It's great. I can't wait. Honestly, like I see this DK and I'm like, I can't wait until it's my turn to be involved in that. Maybe he'll crush though. The DKs can still do well randomly. You never know. He got rescued out, it looks like. Live! Oh no. He is not living. Or he's alive somehow. No, he's not. He's dead. Poor little Death Knight, man. If you look at damage taken here, the Death Knight literally took double everyone else, and all he was able to put out an output, he was only able to put out that as damage reduction. It's honestly pathetic. It looks like a lot of healing, right? But that's literally how his class works. It just takes the damage. He's spamming DS, I'm pretty sure. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't heal for anything. Heals for 104k. Like, you are taking globals for 104k. 104k is not even 10% of your health anymore. People are doing 20% or more. They're doing 30% of your health in one global, and you can only do, in those situations, 10% of your health back. It is laughable. Again, it's one of those spots where whoever did it doesn't understand it. In my opinion. I get that people complain about it though. It's just... Well, that blind's very, very good. I guess it was just to go decangle, always. The monk can tank a little bit, or this guy can tank and kite. Honestly, do they have leech talents? This guy actually has a good amount of leech. I know he's not playing reverse. I could probably play Disdain. Oh, that's not good for me. That's also not good for me. Actually, possibly fine. All right. DK died. Even with the stronger healer. I mean, I just accidentally didn't attack him one round, to be honest. Let the guy have fun for a bit. Big mistake. Don't worry about deep breath though. It's about to happen. So he's playing in. Tried to mount it. I get the second thing here. He wants the Dragon Rage though in a sec. Or right now. Second's done though. Oh, we're about to win. I have everything though. That's the full pop there. He's doing a good job tanking. Despite, am I doing good damn? We're doing very good damn. I would have thought that'd be the easier round. No, the Devivook is at 4. Devivook is on all 4 rounds so far. Surprised I didn't feel like super comfortable with him. I don't think we can kill Mr. Dev. He's a waste of time. So I guess I will follow. Sleep sucks. It's on my IBM, like right on my IBM. We changed? We did change. All right, Dev lost 1 round. I have Dev lost rounds. How much that Dark healed at the end? One. What a dumb. That's a pretty dumb ability. 1.18 mil. They just popped every CD into it. Wanna go to sleep good? Maybe. That might have annoyed him a little bit. I said it because he was getting healed. Second hunt. This is in prison on his cooldown, so. I worry a little bit about what can happen on a spot. Oh, we're kind of about to win there, I think. Same deal. It's like right at the 2-minute mark. I feel like 2 of those rounds were like about to blast me. I could have gone faster at the start. I feel like I'm metering pretty quick though. Oh, I didn't see damage. The stats disagree with you? What stats are you looking at? I don't think they're bad by any means, but I would argue the stats do disagree with you, at least according to like win rates and stuff. I don't know how much I buy in. Like I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it. This is tracking the stats of your class, like your class's win rate, above 24, I believe, but it could be bugged a little bit. If you look at by spec, win rate by spec right now, has DK gone up? Shark and DK at 49. Wait, this is not correct. Current. Oops. Yeah, so this is win rate over here. You're hoping for 50+%. In fact, especially at high ratings, you're hoping that everyone's got above a 50% win rate. But yeah, they're negative here. On ladder, they're very, very uncommon. The funny thing about that was they were relatively uncommon on ladder pre-patch as well. They weren't very common. There was like Pekka queuing on a bunch of ults and maybe me queuing a bunch of ults, and then on EU there was like 1 or 2 Death Knights that queued a bit, but they weren't super good. They're negative win rate. There are only 3 specs in Shuffle that are currently negative win rate. One of them is Orgavook, which I think they're okay with. One is Fire Mage, which is not very tanky, and then 1 is fucking Unholy DK. If you looked at the stat here, right before the patch came in, they were 53% win rate, which is high, right? 53% puts them, like, honestly, not that high, but high. 53% is middle of the pack. There are, you know, there are classes with much higher than that, but yeah, they are. There aren't any statistics that I have seen that suggest that they weren't overnuffed relative to what they could have done. They would have been within their, like, if they were trying to put a spec in a good place. Nah, feral win rate surprisingly high. I think ferals in 3s feel terrible, but in shuffle they apparently do well, I suppose. I think you don't just die in stun locks that you do in 3s. High rated 3s, you just kill them in stuns, and I feel like in shuffle it doesn't happen as often, so they do better. Shuffle is in a bracket that Death Knight should be great in, by the way. You would expect a high win rate on Death Knight because they have such a good playstyle for it. But yeah, the necrotic wounds nerf is the only nerf that hurt us. It crushed us. It totally crushed us. One of the most interesting things about necrotic wounds was that it was such a good healing cooldown. Such a good healing cooldown. And they nerfed it by what? It got nerfed 6% overall from 24 to 18. Dev low win rate? Is the win rate super low in Dev? Let me see what Dev. Where's Dev at? 50.48? Is that too low? 50% win rate's the baseline. That's like a mixture of people that are doing well and a mixture of people that are doing badly. 50% is where you're looking at you're looking for a class to be 50%. 50% means balanced. And when you go above that, it means that it's a little bit unbalanced. You expect in Shuffle, for example, like MS classes to have high win rates. And that includes like even like things like Arms Warriors, because they'll get lobbies where they have an MS every single game, and the other team, so like if you go into a lobby and let's say it's 3 casters in Arms Warrior, or like 3 like Enhancement Shaman, Arms Warrior, like, and a few other things, like random things like I don't know, Frost Mage, and I don't know, Alley Shaman maybe. The Warrior is the only MS in that lobby. They're like, the Warrior has always got an MS, and that means that by default you get lobbies where you can just run away with it. And most of these specs, the top 3, unsurprisingly, all bring Immortal Strike. The spec below Destro also brings Immortal Strike, also brings Immortal Strike, also brings Immortal Strike, also brings Immortal Strike, also brings Immortal. Like almost all these specs are Immortal Strike specs. Check EU. Is it looking better? Oh no. Yeah, Blizzard are fried, man. Blizzard are actually fried. Unfortunately, it's one of those things you expect to see change, but the changes they made were fried. Like, not that I fault them for it, but I feel like it was at a point where they had a month to be delicate with changes. Like we got balance changes at the start of December before Christmas, and we got balance changes like at the end of January. You had a month and a half to make changes, and you could be gentle with those changes, right? You could add in just like 1 or 2 and just like kind of see where the game's at. And instead they decided to decimate them right at the end. And I feel like Blizzard aren't likely to admit mistakes, you know? That's just how it is. That is fucking tragic, man. What the fuck? Why? It's interesting that Org is so much... Where's Org at? Org must have a decent win rate on EU somehow. Org win rate's randomly insane. Are they uncommon? But yeah, it's super weird, actually. No one plays it, so it's just a scarce spec. There's only a couple of them. That's kind of like the Frosty Cannabis. Like, this is probably like one Frosty cat that's playing or something. I swear when I watch a Ustreamers, I see Org DKs, or I see Org occasionally playing in Shuffle. But yeah, no, those changes were. It was at a time where there was a need to be delicate, and they decided to, with absolutely no regard whatsoever, just throw like they were the most nerfed spec in those changes. Everyone else took one nerf, like maybe one nerf. The OP specs took like one little tiny nerf, and then Death Knights took 5 nerfs in the same patch. It was good. And it's the third consecutive season they've done this expansion. Also very good. They did it in season 1, where in season 1 they got hit really hard. They gutted their defensives, and then they didn't give them back. They just gutted their defensives, because they were looking a bit tanky in season 1. So they gutted them completely in season 1 defensively, and then they still had good dam, so they gutted them offensively too. And then in season 2, they made this really awesome rework, which is still awesome now, but they decided to gut that right before the tournament season started, which is still, I mean, they were still good at it. They were still decent after that, I think. But then this season they didn't hold back again. It'd be nice not to be like just like I don't even care about the damage aspect of DK. I would love to not be I would rather be considered like the annoying like fucking tank, like being kind of durable, compared to I'm in a game and I'm just getting destroyed and Chuck's like, why do I even play with you? I'm not even paraphrasing. He's like, why do I literally even play with a class that takes as much damage when I could play with classes that don't? I mean, every spec in ABC, literally, including Shadow Priest, which still gets dicked, they're all tanks. Even Shadow Priest relative to Death Knight is a tank, which is kind of crazy. Oh, it was top rate. At least you got that. The guys that nerf them in PvP don't have any idea like about the PvE side of the class. I don't think they were doing the PvP. Like they're not. There's no relationship there. Wiz, yeah, it's actually interesting. You like that's why I wanted you to bring that up. Wiz did get demolished. They played a comp into him that was literally the worst case scenario for him, and he still won one round. And he's like that is like me. Okay, put me in his place. Put me in Wiz's place into that team and watch what happens. They'll be full HP the whole game. I won't dent them. I won't take a round. They will literally be immune to death while I die. And I'll be 10% HP the whole game if they actually train me. That comp is just as bad. And to me, you can't, like, Chuck leaves when we get that. If we get a Fistweave team as a Death Knight, he leaves, but they still play it out and they win. They can win. That is a worst case. Like he for whatever reason, you know, GD took they played a really good comp into GG, and GG just went for it. And they're a good enough team. They're a talented enough team. They can almost win it. You know what I mean? I do. No, I play other stuff. Burr. I don't believe currently the meta is almost exclusively rogue caster. So short of like DHLE, there's no room for cleave in this meta for the most part that we've seen. And you're gonna say, well, that particular team, but yeah, that's good into RPS. I don't know if it's super good into, like, for example, what they're gonna play against tomorrow, which is what the meta they're about to play against the meta tomorrow. And maybe they're an insane, maybe Existence's team is insane enough they can actually pull it off. But tomorrow, more than likely, they're gonna play Fistweave team. But they're gonna have to swap off a Fistweave, I guess, right? They're gonna play some form of cleave because that team is very cleave heavy, they're gonna play some form of cleave into like Outlaw Arcane and Outlaw Destra, and it's gonna feel very different than when you play against a Shadow Priest that can't move. For ladder as Unholy, I think DSGK is alright in ladder. Bro, it's crazy when people are here. I don't think I would expect Hunter to do super well with DK still. Yeah, no, I mean DK, when Orca DK existed for a long time, it was good. It was probably good in MOP, to be honest. I didn't see it in MOP, but it was pretty good in MOP, and it was good in all of WAD, Legion, and BFA. It seemed like a stable comp, but then they decided and they made the change to Fist Down, and it got rougher at that point. Nice Chrome. So we get the Unholy enough because DHGK was too good. The data suggested they were too good. How many, I think. Like all data pointed to them needing nerfs, but you can still be gentle with those nerfs, right? They decided not to be, and they also made it at the same time as they made those nerfs. They also made two quality of life changes. The armor nerf, which wasn't like directly Death Knight, but it is a Death Knight nerf, right? They made the armor nerf, which is basically a buff of 7.5% to Outlaw Rogues, Hunters, Warriors, etc. against DKs. And at the same time as that, they also made a 10% health change, which should be good for us, but it also meant like I don't think DK is overkilled by a huge amount, so it hurt your ability to actually find win conditions. Oh, DHs weren't nerfed at all, man. It wasn't that DHs weren't nerfed as hard. They didn't actually receive a single nerf. Somehow DH was not included in those patch notes at all. They just decided, I guess, to lump all the changes to Death Knight or to DH into the DK. Yeah, they did nothing to them. I would be inclined to agree for the most part. But yeah, it's a weird one. It's hard to not feel bitter about that, to be honest. From my point of view, like generally I'm pretty upbeat about it all, but it's actually hard to not feel bitter after 3 consecutive seasons. So I apologize for that. But for some reason they and I imagine there are other classes in the same spot. I feel like Enhancement Shaman probably feels the same way. I feel like BM Hunter and Marks Hunter probably feels the same way. There are just some specs that seem invulnerable to nerfs. And it's because they start and if you want to know the honest answer to that, the reason why the difference between Hunter, Death Knight, and Enhancement Shaman in comparison to Rogue, like I would say kind of DH, but especially Rogue and like certain classes, is that those classes are tanky. Like even when you nerf their damage, they're left being tanky, and for whatever reason the state they're after with those other 3 classes that I talked about, Hunter, DK, and Enhance, is that they're all fucking squishy. It's not gonna fix. I mean, it's not an actual problem, right? It's a problem from my point of view, but it's not a problem from the game's point of view. It isn't actually a problem. It's not like there's any obligation for them to make changes in those areas, and nor do I expect them. Like there's no they don't owe anything to those classes. Like realistically, you've had more or less one singular meta that's existed for 5 years now. They haven't actually had a cleave meta. They haven't actually had a caster meta. They've just had melee caster, which is actually possibly the meta you're after in tournament play. You've pretty much had some form of melee caster, like Rogue Mage, Rogue Lock, Rogue Shadow Priest, Windwalker Mage. That covers almost every meta that's existed. You had a very brief one where it was Demo Rep, but to be honest, on EU, Rogue Lock 1 as well. So you've just had one meta. It's been an unbalanced meta for a long time, but it's not necessarily a bad one. I feel like from a tournament watchability standpoint, It's a fun comp to watch. Like Cleavy Cleave, we haven't seen that in a long time. Cleavy Cleave is a bloodbath. And games are over instantly and stuff. And that just hasn't happened. But yeah, people, I remember there was not too long ago, there was a ABC that actually had double melee versus double melee, and everyone just watched these 4 melee just beating the shit out of each other in the middle of a map, and they just laughed. Like people didn't like it. I don't think. I don't know. It's hard to know whether that's actually a good thing or not. It's really hard to commentate, I'm sure, when you have like 4 casters or 4 melee just beating the shit out of each other, and also 4 casters is really boring to watch. But there's something really ridiculous about melee cleaves fighting each other because they almost never can dampen. Like you never have 4 melee. Like maybe TSG mirrors could be dampening, but for the most part, melee cleaves are about offense and not really about defense. Yeah, and I don't know. Look, they've done a very good job. Let me be clear when I'm bitter about something. They've done a very good job with this expansion and even last expansion for the most part in terms of like how they've responded to PvP changes and stuff. Like I think that, you know, it's one of those things that at the time we've got to filter out one aspect of the conversation, which is this. No matter like what expansion you're talking about, if you teleport back in time to this moment in any given expansion, the conversation like is almost always the same, even in the ones that are considered balanced. People are always going to bitch about some aspect of the meta. I think that when people look back on this expansion in 2 expansions time, and you can be a bit more objective about it, people will probably be pretty happy with how the meta looks most of the time. That's like consistent across any expansion. Like competitively, we're starting to get a picture of it being mostly melee caster, but the overall ladder is relatively balanced, I would say. Good way to fix Adrid? What do you need to fix with Adrid? I feel like Adrid's done. I think Adrid isn't what I'd consider a good place now. Do you not think that? Even on EU, teams are getting forced off of like, the Adrid mains are being forced off of Adrid on EU. I think Adrid's in a great place. I think Blizzard, that's an example of Blizzard doing a really good job with balancing. Like I would say that Adrid, they've done a great job with like their mana is in like a place that it's like not unfair, but it's still like pretty rough for them. Their healing's in a place where it's not unfair, but it's still pretty good. Their CC's strong, like they're good without being overwhelming. Like we're seeing a good number of different healers being played in ABC this season, probably more than usual, right? There's the occasional prayers, there's the occasional Adrid, there's a good number of shamans, and there's the occasional holy priest. Like the only heal that we're not seeing competitively right now is holy paladin, more or less. But even last week we saw holy paladins too. Who are we missing? Disc priest? Like the heal emitter is probably one of the best we've seen. Yeah, we did see Mistweaver and Fistweaver today. So literally this like the people that are developing, like the PvP devs that are doing healing are doing a great job. Which is kind of nuts. I guess with Shuffle they have to do a really good job with it all. I don't know. I respect it, DOS, but I feel like they did a great job. I think that when people look back on this expansion, it'll probably be one of those things that people think is pretty awesome. Again, I want to balance the fact that I have professional bitterness, but at the same time, the game is pretty great as well. Professionally, I'm pissed though, 100%. Not that I'm professional, but if I was professional, I'd be pissed, which I'm not. All right, we have a hunt, we have an I-beam, we have a blur off this. It's a hard berry to work with, I think, unfortunately, but no, he's not happy with that. I'm destroying him. Mr. Rogue does not like this. He's still gonna do it now. Like, it's surely it's time for him to. Alright, we're done destroying him now. Or if he lives this somehow, we have a lot. I could have docked, I guess. Could I have docked? The second highest damage is fell div. Yeah, on me, so I'm just... I don't know if I should have blood. Just dance. He's getting
So close. This just means more entertainment for me.
We're on me. Blood. I don't know if I should have though. I'm a little bit late on this.
Oh, so close. This just means more entertainment for me. I see who the strongest
Interesting. Is there a heal getting crushed? No. No consistent factor in this lobby so far. So the glad situation, I mean, the easiest thing, if you, the secret to getting glad for the most part is waiting, like the longer the season goes on, the easier it gets to actually get. And then also queue at peak time. Make sure you're queuing at the right time. Comp wise, it's not super. I mean, obviously it opens up as like you have to play something extremely meta to begin with, and then less meta as time goes on. So I would say at this stage we're at a pretty early point. So you're not hard stuck. First of all, like not in the overall sense. Whatever rating you're at now will be worth much higher later on in the season. Even though it might feel it right now. Now it's just not the ideal time necessarily to push glad, especially if you're just trying to be like quick with it. It's probably more efficient to get later. Just the way they've designed it.
Oh, so close.
Mr. Rogue almost got taken out there.
More entertainment for me.
Watch out! No!
Strongest.
He'd have vanished really soon too. That I did not expect. Okay, one of the priests is pulled ahead. You probably have more than 7 weeks in the season, if I had to guess. When's peak time? So the peak time is really narrow nowadays. Someone can answer better than I can. I think it's probably between like 8 EST and 1 a.m. EST, probably. Something like that. Probably goes a little longer than that. Maybe 8 to 2 or 8 to 3. If you're queuing any other time, you're just gonna have a tougher time getting what you want in terms of queues. Teams will be much lower rated. Gonna use that to send his damage. So I pre-blow that because I kind of figured he's about to do it, but uh-oh.
I see who the strongest mortals are. For now.
So there was a healer that was destroying. What tuning? It's hard for me to say. I don't think they have any reason to. Personally, I would expect the next time you'd see tuning, if I had to guess, just randomly, I would imagine the next point at which you'd see tuning would be either season 4 or whenever the pirate patch comes out, the 10.26 patch. I think 10.26 is probably when I would be most expectant of changes.
Well met. What?
I don't see what their incentive is to making changes before then. Like I thought this before as well. I don't think the game was in a bad state before, and I don't think the game is in a bad state now. I think players will always think that it's in a bad state always. So that's just the baseline, right? That's your baseline expectation is the game is always on fire, all right? That's how players are historically. Yeah, but they already do a lot of tuning, right? Again, like they might do tuning, but they've done a lot. They've got a new expansion coming out, presumably with, quite interestingly, different class design and stuff. So like the people that would be making those changes, I'm not sure what their motive for making them is. They've done a lot of tuning even this season, more than I expected. They did a much bigger balance patch for the SoD than I would have expected, because again, I think the game was in a pretty decent state. Look at the healer meta in this. I mean, in ABC, we've seen a good mixture of classes and different compositions. Probably not so. I mean, again, mostly melee caster. We've definitely just got the same meta we've had, right? Which is basically melee caster is the dominant one, but it's not a bad thing necessarily. Could be the best thing for all I know. They've tuned some specs that are relevant: Feral, Enhance, and Aug. We actually see Feral on 2 different rosters on EU. But yeah, I mean, it's not completely out of relevance. Like I would say they got more representation than Death Knights, for example. Although I do think Feral's pretty bad. Enhance, yeah. I mean, yeah. Org, I don't want to see back. I'm gonna be honest. Fuck Org, man. I don't think there's any relevance to having attack spec and PvP. I don't think Org is good for the game, straight up. Look, I respect people liking Org. I just don't think Org is good for the game. Melee is better to watch? I don't know, man. The game I like watching is when you actively make... I would love to have the conversation with the dev team from Legion, from BFA, from WAD, from MOP, and figure out what they did differently in those expansions to make multiple specs work at the same time. Not just one rolling meta, but like the idea that a team could be diehard melee cleave, a team could be diehard caster cleave, and a team could be diehard rogue like X at the same time. I don't know what happened. You know what I mean? I don't know how they was successful in doing it for so many years, and then at some point it died out completely. Maybe. You mean when comps are more versatile and people can focus on? I mean, I don't think comps are necessarily more versatile now. I just think that right now it feels like you're trolling if you're cleaving for the most part. It feels like you're trolling if you're caster cleaving even for the most part. You're basically trolling unless you're playing melee caster. That's it. One playstyle. You can slot in the best melee for that spec, which is a rogue, or you can slot in or a DH actually. DH or rogue. You slot in your best melee. Pick your fucking fighter for the best melee, and you pick your poison for the best caster, which could be Shadow Priest in some situations, could be Lock in some situations, could be Moonkin in some situations, but it's still the same shit, right? It's a melee caster. You change that caster for another melee, or you change that melee for another caster, and the game changes entirely. The feel of the game either goes ultra damp as double caster, or it goes it's just over too quickly as double melee. And I feel like they're able to have a nice mixture of win conditions and stuff that existed in other expansions. And I'm curious as to why that is. Like, I'm curious as to, like, from a design philosophy standpoint, what changed. Super short listener? Yeah, probably. I would assume so. So that's why, like, I'm curious as to, like, who did dev work on that type of thing, like how they like what they were trying to target with the game. And keep in mind also things that have changed since then. There is so if you go back far enough, there was no dampening ever, but they designed their entire game around no dampening back in MOP and before. It wasn't until BFA that, or it wasn't until WoD that dampening came in, and then it wasn't until this expansion that there was a permanent 10%. There's a permanent 10%. You start the game at 10% dampening now. So they got to a point where they need dampening to even exist in the game at all. And then 2s is heavily reliant on dampening. So something has fundamentally changed under the hood, going from expansion to expansion to expansion. So I'm super curious as to what choices they made to have that happen, or whether it was like whether it just kind of happened because of like how they designed PvE or what. I don't know if we have war games, but I think Chuck's around in 30 or so. I might be on tomorrow for a short time. Tomorrow, like I might jump on, if I get up early tomorrow, I might be on for like the EU games until the team's around, potentially. What are going on tonight? I mean, if the team's doing stuff, I'm doing stuff. If they're streaming, then I'll keep streaming. If they're not streaming, I'll turn my stream off. In terms of like, I mean, I'll sleep early tonight because I got up very early today. Kind of curious if it's just better to always play max talents. DHG gets still solid, yeah. Gap closing abilities? Possible. I mean, it's across the board, right? It's also like escapes and stuff too. So yeah. I mean, I don't think gap closes and stuff are necessarily the biggest thing. Like, the game isn't in a terrible state in that sense. I don't think it's on the one that I would consider ideal. I don't mind the idea of everyone being fucking, you know, the whole game is powered up and everyone's running around ultra strong with like gap closes and speed and all that kind of thing. Oh, that was it. That was Rose. Rose is sick. We're actually all sick. I'm also close to being sick. I'll be sick tomorrow probably. I was feeling sick yesterday, and it's. I mean, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just like stay stable, but I just feel run down, I guess. No, it's not too bad. It's some sort of hybrid flu cold thing. It's an Alan doing this for me. Ab, do you remember? It's just basically an add-on that replaces one sound file. But I don't remember what it was. Maybe Ab does. I don't know, man. I take a very different point of view. Like I said, you may have heard me say negative things, but I guarantee you those negative things are only because of the situation from a competitive standpoint. They have nothing to do with the actual game state at all. The overall game state's in a great place. And they've done a very good job with it, I think. Oh, Av is it? Thank you, Av. This version of mana is kind of crazy. Because you don't even really use mana. Like, a substantial amount of what you're doing. I wonder if I should. Let me see. I actually wonder if we should just go explosive. You can't use that target, I don't think. Unless I'm missing something. Right, you can use that cursor. That's what I've got for my stuff. This version of mana is wild though because you have kind of everything. You have your mana, like Vanilla Hunter goes through mana really fast, but now we have Viper for some reason. Not even sure why. So we just can spam everything. Yeah, the no offended drink makers is crazy. You don't need to drink. You don't even have to even drink at all. Drink is obsolete once you have this version of Viper in. I think my damage is high now because I expose weakness uptime. So have you seen people playing Melee Hunter? Which version of... Oh, I didn't mean to kill this guy. Which version of it? The one with the melee specialist one? The belt thing? Or the boots as well? That's both, right? Belt and boots? I don't understand what makes them one shot. Is there like an insane weapon you can get right now? Depending on what you can have. You can get a Sword of Zeal at this level. Good. I'm actually kind of disappointed that melee hunt is such a big thing. Like I didn't really play Hunter to be melee. You know what I mean? I guess I don't care though. Yeah, I feel there. It doesn't. The thing is, like, Melee Hunter looks. Maybe it's strong. It doesn't look that fun though. Like your rotation is really not awesome. It's rotationally very unsatisfying, in my opinion, at least. The dual tournament? So I feel like dual tournament's different rules, right? Because in dual tournament you're looking to run. Maybe you play like melee into. You get scatter this tournament, right? Do. I feel like you'd have to play scatter into virtually everything. Maybe not. I mean, your pet going bestial wrath and blasting someone while you're just playing melee. Like you're basically BM melee. You just have a pet that's blasting as well.
Switch.
Pets doesn't work against. The reason why you want scatter is because scatter works against evasion. We're top 3, yeah.
Taunt focus. Switch.
And no one else look at the sub. Thank you so much. That was my first sub today. Right, I feel like I guess I don't know who that was, but also like, have we seen Cookie around at the same time? Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. Actually, wait. I'm not trying to, but also like, it could also be someone who has a name that starts with K. Possibly.
Taunt focus. Taunt.
Subtitle needs to increase 1700.
Taunt.
But that's an absurd.
Switch.
I'm very grateful to be back at 1500. I'm very, very grateful to be back at 1500. And so was Aaron. Or it could, okay. Or it could be a different name entirely. Okay, I'm actually just wrong. So this is why I shouldn't guess in the first place, right? If it's anonymous, then I'm probably gonna get it wrong first of all. Honestly, it's very difficult to get that one right. Red Hair with a $6 donation. The note is Craig on that one. Thank you very much, that anonymous. I am insanely lucky to have you guys around. especially considering I just show up at random times nowadays as well. I've like my schedule isn't even in one place. Ooh, a shuffle. It's kind of nice doing both though.
Taunt. Switch.
And notice a 5 gifted subs as well. Okay, I'm not gonna try and guess it because I'll get it wrong. But now I have 4 different people that I'm thinking could be in the mix for that, and I'm very uncertain. I'm not to the point that I'm willing to commit either way. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, my stream times are just all over the place at the moment. Veggie, they're gonna change back on Monday though. Oh, I'm actually in a game. Oh, hold on a second. I think it's Fane. He said if he is first, we'd kill him. Tooch with the gifted sub as well. 127 total. We're at, somehow we went to, what the fuck is going on? Tooch with 5 more gifted subs as well. I was gonna say we went from 1 to 7 to I don't even know where we're at now. Honestly, I have no idea where we're at now. I just trinketed air. Literal air. I think we're just going this guy anyway. Is that what's happening? Wait, it's Danny. It is in fact Danny. Thank you guys so much, guys. There's no fucking way, man. We're very, very lucky and very, very happy to be anywhere near where we're at. Danny gets kicked. I want to fair Danny. Can I do it? I can do it. He is fed. Oh, whoa. Live, Mr. Death Knight. Mr. Darkness down. I stunned that cast. I don't want to have to deal with that shit. And cap. What is actually going on? What are you guys actually doing? There's a $13.37 donation from Eponymous. We won that round. We apparently won that round while I was literally mostly not paying attention to it. Thank you very much for that. That DK kind of blasted. I think we go the DK. We 100% train the Death Knight. We need to prove a point now. This guy needs to not live. Kind of as long as I can to do my one shot. He has a fair for him. Here's my damage. It's kind of a one shot. It's also kind of not a one shot, but it could also be a one shot, right? 1, 2. Stun. / kidney shot. Depending on which way we look at it. Thank you guys for the insights. Well, upon us with the. Wait, what is going on? Beep with 5 gifted. I literally start saying that, and then 5 more show up. At the same time. At literally the same time. I will try and thank you guys again in a second. My hunters. I also someone remind me to like keep my hunter alive after this, because it is also dying. I'm being attacked, man. They're going after me. I'm not interested in that. Here's burst. Here's a lot of bursts. Purge the bop. How much can Mr. Death Knight survive? Really? Oh, the hunt. Full fair. Into stun. Into incap. Into purge, you can get it, of course. That's how that works. Into double stun. I blurred this. Alright, here's my actual real one shot. Oh, I got Searing Glade. I gotta wait a sec. Real one shot! And unfortunately, Death Knight does go down. Thank you so much to Beep for the gifted sub and 5. Wait, there's another one. Beep with 6 gifted subs. Apollo was the $30 donation. Tooch with 5 gifted subs and another gifted sub. Anonymous with 5 gifted subs. Red Herring with a $6 donation. And Anonymous with the gifted sub at the start. That was 9 minutes ago. That was all 18 subs in 9 minutes. And 2 donations. Wait. And 2 donations. Don't say it, Miz. Stop saying fuck. They're a family friendly. I already know who this is. 100%. But I can't say it. You're absolutely right. Wait. Fuck, man. Does that count? This way I could say nothing, man. But also your note has fuck in it, man. So how do I not say that? Did I already? Does that already count as saying it? Thank you very much for that. But again, I'm not saying. Well, I kind of said it. I just didn't necessarily say who. But that might already be saying too much. Av? You know what? Maybe, but also maybe not. I would suspect not. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm kind of just attacking whatever. I feel like it should be Death Knight. I just did Death Knight last round and it worked great, right? Oh. Oh. Nice leg sweep. Followed by a fair. I'm not going to say it's a nice fair. It's a fair. Followed by a stun. It's kidney shot. We love kidney shot. Didn't dispel that. He didn't dispel it either. He has turtle. We're hoping he uses turtle as his next kind of like attempt for CC. Here is a hunt. No. Wait, does it count? It kind of counts. I guess it gives me.
Loves to get sweet nothings whispered into his ear by Clink down on his compound in Florida.
Yep, that's the one. Now he's in dark. Now we dark. Now we in cap. No.
I did not expect this outcome.
No, man, we're doing so well. What are you guys actually fucking doing right now? They whom Mez suspects with a $15 donation not. See, I feel like I do suspect, but I don't actually necessarily fully know enough. Like the one above that, I do know. When the don't say it, that one, I know exactly who that one is. But beyond that, I'm not as certain completely. Not to the point where I'm willing to full send on that one. Thank you very much, whoever that was. Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I infinitely appreciate it. Infinitely appreciate it. That is insanely kind of you guys for being so awesome. Wexo has a good point though. When people donate anonymously, they probably don't want me to like randomly guess their name. Unless you oh no, man! Not like this. Okay. Now it's me and the Death Knight. The Death Knight actually has 2 wins. Wait, the Death Knight's winning! Okay, we've let the Death Knight win. Kinda. Talent, yeah. I was having too much fun cleaving though. I shouldn't have. No, we don't throw. I mean, technically speaking, the Paladin died with, like, I wouldn't have saved him, but I could have locked him down a little more at the start. I suppose he has to bubble either way, but he did not, and they sent on Paladin. Honestly, if I'm this Death Knight, I would send Paladin, which is what he did last round. See, now he's happily bubbling. Getting very CC'd. However, all right, can always kill a Paladin. And honestly, another good sub. What is going on? Actually, another one. We're at 19 subs today somehow, all in the space of this game, inside of this one shuffle. My hand is dead, isn't it? No, man, the hunter died of natural causes, unfortunately. It was in a feigned death, and it actually tricked itself into dying. This guy is complaining about DH. Yeah, Hunter is gone. Don't worry, he's perished. He's very perished. There's a sweep off this potentially. He doesn't care about the darkness, I guess. He actually has to go back into it. Wait. Who won? Weren't we about to lose? Who died? Did we actually win that? It says I got 4, but I feel like it was way closer than that. The marks died? It doesn't say that though, is the weird part. It actually doesn't say that the marksman hunter died. It literally only shows the other guy dying on my details. He may have lived with like a teeny bit of health. Look. Bro, it looks like he may actually feign. Because I think he should be dead here. Okay, we're slow motioning it. That is the most bizarre. He lives. And honestly, another good sub to like Total X as well. It looks like the guy actually lived somehow, which is wild. Like, how? Looks like just DK. This guy's deathlog, he actually lives. You know, the hunter must have been 1% HP, and the Death Knight, you know, being a Death Knight, he just died from. Honestly, what? He took a what? Look at his death. He died to an explosive shot 2 explosive shot hits, 118k and 173k, and then I did a death sweep with Essence Break before that, and it's just all his health. Oh, I didn't see how much. Did I do a lot of damage that game? Like, what was my scoreboard damage? Yeah, we did top by a little bit. We beat the BM. We did okay, PV. Thank you guys for the insane. We're at 20 subs today. There have been like 3 donations as well. The team is around, I think, in 20 minutes, so we're not here for too much longer today. We're gonna try and be on a little bit tomorrow, early, if that's cool with you guys. Just for like probably like 2 hours. We'll log on like right at 11, and we'll do like an hour or 2. Do you think DH Rit is a decent 3 with your comp? DH Rit. Yeah, I do actually. Oh, this must be a farm spot. There's a billion dead turtles here. What time we play tomorrow? We play tomorrow first for NA. They do winners first. They do the winners bracket first nowadays. So yeah, we play first NA. There are going to be some tie breaks on EU tomorrow though, potentially. They're apparently, because there's only 2 cups, they're tie breaking everything. They're tie breaking every position, I believe. I don't know why that is. So that means that tomorrow will be a little bit longer. Pardon? No, they're not tie breaking the whole like 8 teams, I don't think. I think they're tie breaking the top teams that make it past that don't have to do the gauntlet. Because it's region v region, I think. So with 2 cups, yeah, 2 cups is kind of, the point system doesn't make as much sense. I almost wonder if they should have just done like back in the day they used to have like a lottery type entry thing where if you won or got second, you got given entry. I wonder if they should have just done a like winner takes all entry type system rather than going for consistency. It might, and I don't think it's better to do that, but it might have just made more sense considering the format. But to be honest, the cups will make more sense over the course of an entire year anyway. 2 cups isn't the whole this isn't the whole season. This is the mid season. There are 2 cups later on too, and the results from these ones count towards next season's one too. The big tournament is a big tournament. They're doing a big like 300k tournament, I believe, at the end of the season. This is the mid season. There's an end of season tournament for 300,000. It says on the website, and for that all the results matter. So it is kind of scuffed for just like for the way this one plays out, but it'll work out quite nicely for the end of year one, especially because it's going to take into account being able to perform in multiple metas at that point too. Yeah, DH Red's decent. You might actually see, if I had to guess, you will see DH Red tomorrow. I think I would if I had to guess, DH Red will get played tomorrow into Cubsy's team. No, not Cubsy's team. Sorry, into Void's team maybe. It's actually the situation with the move getting KO'd actually creates the most drama, by the way, for this. Like everyone wants to avoid the gauntlet because the gauntlet only one team makes it out of, and like the meta can change. The reason why if you want to know why the gauntlet's so terrifying, is the meta can shift in the space of that month. They might make some changes, and it might be a different meta when the actual gauntlet comes or when the gauntlet comes around, and you only have one chance. Gauntlet's single them. So everyone wants to avoid the gauntlets. It's actually like, it's funny like how they talk about it, but it's actually not very fun to go through the gauntlet. Maybe they'll make no changes and it won't be so different, but if they make any changes, it's pretty terrifying to go through. So with the move getting KO'd today, tragically, it creates a lot of drama because if you look at point standings, there are two teams that are both tied at 140 points. The move has 160 points and they're second right now, and we have 180 points at first, right? So we're locked in. We can't not get top 3 at this point, but there are so many different combinations of tiebreak scenarios between those 3 teams that remain, because in the upper bracket you've got Cubsy's team, right? They have 160 points. If they win, they qualify, I think, guaranteed. And then in the lower bracket, or at least they tie guaranteed. If they win the tournament, they guaranteed qualify. They tie with, if they win, yeah. And then you've got Void in the lower bracket, and they have 140 points too. They have to win 2 series, I suppose, right? The prize pool for the gauntlet is not quite. So it does have a prize pool. Every team that competes in the gauntlet gets paid, I believe, something. I think it's a flat rate for every team that shows up, except for the team. They have they call it a prize pool. The prize for the gauntlet is usually the min prize for the actual main tournament. Does it make sense? So like it'll say you won, let's say 2,500 or something for winning the gauntlet, but actually that's the prize for 4th place or 8th place in this case for the other tournament. They may have, unless they change the I mean, I'm not against them structuring it around like the gauntlet being extra cash. I feel like it's still less consistent to go through the gauntlet than to go other ways. Well, the prize pool for this one is kind of small, you're right. I mean, it's not small, it's $100,000. It's a huge prize pool. But the prize pool is small relative to end of season stuff. Normally they have a different structure, but this is the mid season. The end of season one's 300,000, which is big. That is for both regions, though, to be fair. So it's about in line with what you had before. But I think they have another season planned as well. So I don't know. They're pretty good. Like Blizzard are actually, maybe it's not as big as like Dota or League or other games, but they do a pretty a pretty decent service to players. Keep in mind that Blizzard have no obligation to do any of this stuff. They don't. I don't know if they necessarily get a giant return on it. I think they do a pretty decent job. Oh, it's not split 4 ways. 100K is split across everyone. It's split 8 different tournament team ways. You probably get, I'm not sure what the payout structure is. It may be flat. I haven't looked at it. Though the end of season one might be a LAN, possibly. This one's the mid-season. This is not. It's a more exciting format from a spectator standpoint, I think. It is a less consistent format from a player standpoint. Tactical loss and Sinlin moves the gauntlet. If we lose, it creates the most drama too. Definitely. If we lose tomorrow, it's the most like the move are most likely not to make it. To be honest, Yeah, if Void lose tomorrow, there's no tiebreak for that. Because the move, it's automatically the three other teams probably that make it. People think Dracocleave has some scary shit, but I don't know. Dracocleave looked, unfortunately, it's fine. I was watching those games with the team, and yeah, I mean, Frost EK is just not, like, they're so good at what they do. That team is actually very talented. But as someone who's played those types of comps in competitive play before many times, we've been there, right? That was a comp that we tried, like a comp that we played, and Windwalker DK with Frost is another comp we played, and DHDK with Frost, another comp we played. It is just unbelievably frustrating to play that comp, to need to get the goes, but even if you get the goes, if they play well, you just lose. It feels pretty bad to rely on the other team making mistakes. And to be fair, the bar for like not making any mistakes is actually pretty high. Like you have to do a pretty good job. But if they play exceptional and very coherent, you don't win. It's that simple. You don't have any punch outside of your goes. If it was beneficial to lose without, would you? No. I don't believe we'd ever do that. But also, we don't have that. We don't actually have that control, by the way. If we lose, it doesn't send the move out. The move are in a spot right now where it's based on the performance of the other two teams. If Cubsy beats us, if Cubsy's team beats us, they are tied with the move. They have to tie break the move. The move, I don't think, are ever eliminated. The only situation where the move outright just don't qualify because the other two teams both get 40 points more, as in they both get 180. The only situation where that happens is if we get third, if we get third and Void gets Cubsy's team has to get first. So if Cubsy's team gets first and Void gets second, then everyone gets more than 180 points, and everyone then the move lose in that situation. That is the only scenario in which they don't at least tie break. That is the only scenario. And in the majority of situations, if you're a move fan, you will see the move play tomorrow in a tie break, almost always. It's only in the one configuration where they will not. I mean, I can't, but how do I do that here? How do I even do that here, Chrome? Thank you guys again for the insane support. Thank you again to Anonymous with gifted subs. Sorry, Anonymous with 2 gifted subs. They who Mez suspects with a $15 donation. Don't say it, Mez, with the $20 donation. Beep with a gifted sub. Beep with 5 more gifted subs. It's Eponymous with a $13.37 donation as well. Of which, by the way, a bunch of those are I believe, one person. Thank you very much for that. Tooch with 6 gifted subs. Anonymous with 5 gifted subs. Red Herring with a $6.98 donation. Anonymous with a gifted sub as well. But I don't even think there's any advantage to doing that. Like you don't know what the meta is going to be. For all we know, that like it would never be a situation that you would even entertain unless you knew exactly how the meta worked. Maybe in other games like League and stuff, it would be maybe clearer as to what it would be, but there's just zero reason to do that. Does that make sense? Like, there's no actual like reason that would ever be something you'd entertain beyond ethics, right? There's no reason to do it in terms of like benefit. Like it's just like to be a dick move, and that's not something we'd ever do. I feel like everyone has a lot of respect for the move. The move got sent into it. Like, honestly, they got very unlucky today. They had this insane first series. Do I already have this stuff done? Hold up. No, I still need tons of these parts. Why can't I hover over them? These are all rocket car parts. Right? Yuck. Anyway, I don't think any form of match fixing happens in WoW that I'm aware of. At least not that I've ever seen. Wait, except no. No, I don't think it's ever happened in WoW. That I know of. Yeah, I mean that I'm sure. I'm not saying it doesn't happen elsewhere. I just don't. Again, these are all excellent teams, and to be honest, I would say that of the 4 teams that are currently in contention, like heavy contention to get into the main tournament, I would expect the team that doesn't get into the main tournament will get into the main tournament through there's a high chance, unless there's a big meta shift, they'll make it through the gauntlet anyway. The final boss of the gauntlet is a big final boss. Like they're like whoever it is. There's 3 different teams that are all in contention for that spot right now, and all 3 of those teams are, I feel like, likely to win anyway to get through. Again, that's considering current meta. I do think that maybe the move has to figure out something for Existence's team, though. I'm not sure. I'm not like even though they're good enough and talented enough to maybe win. Anyway, I don't think it's a great matchup. In Classic, those matching, was it? It's news to me. MLD. I just see that's the thing that's interesting. But they did play MLD. No, they played Mage Shadow Priest. Mage Shadow Priest is just not very lethal, but I don't think Mage Lock is lethal either. Also, I'm not sure, like Mage Lock is the kind of comp that doesn't have like clean win conditions. They're very damp, like barely killing, and I just don't know if personally I would say someone playing Destro Lock sounds good. I feel like even though you don't really want to be Destro into cleave necessarily, I think Outlaw can peel enough against that specific type of cleave, and they can create distance when it matters to try and fuck over the Fist Weaver healing. So I would say like RLS sounds good to me. Destro Shadow Priest, again, you don't want to have the reason why Shadow Priest is bad there is it's an immobile target that you can't kite. He just has to deal with fucked up down the whole time. Yeah, okay, DH. I mean, I imagine, I'm not saying it's the best matchup with Outlaw. I just feel like for what they have, I would say Outlaw sounds fine into it. Just to create distance when it meant, like just to create moments where the Fist Weaver can't heal. You have the flexibility to pull it, double coil, etc., and then you've also got the flexibility to have the rogue like evasion at times with where you basically, you know, if you're not actually landing hits, nothing's happening. I guess the shaman aspect's still like there, right? They'll just run at your shaman maybe, which sounds kind of grim maybe. And also totems can be killed. You can stomp totems. I mean, I don't think shaman's best for it necessarily, but I think it sounds like anything sounds better than Shadow Priest. Literally anything sounds better than Shadow Priest, I think. Well, yeah, they just get tunneled all game. Yeah, I mean, 15-second port has got to be super annoying, right? 15-second port, so you can create distance and create moments they can't heal, and then also double coil. Sounds nice. Infernal, like later on in the game, although, do you have to like cancel your? Is it worth canceling your Infernal into Fistweave? I don't know if like the Infernal as like obviously the stun's super worth, but the moment they're not CC'd, I wonder if you have to get rid of it, or they just heal for too much. Well, I was meaning more because their healing's multiplicative, right? like giving them 2 target healing is just like doubling. Like it's literally like you think of like how strong like any kind of offensive or like healing cooldown is, and you consider that a second target for a fist sweep to hit is literally 100% healing, right? Okay, so you get some value out of it. I guess if you're I guess it's still not worth it if like it's the only target. Maybe they don't realize that though. The stun's still super OP. Alright guys, I think I am stopping pretty soon now. I think Chuck has just got around. I don't think Sam's there yet. But I'm gonna turn stream off in just a second, probably, for that. Is there an Odyssey cast bars on Classic? Yeah, there's one cool I think Classic cast bars works. Let me see. Honestly, I way prefer Classic cast bars, like the normal ones. Yeah, Classic cast bars. Gives you cast bars. It's actually... Like, I prefer it to the retail ones. The retail ones have a... Some of the UI stuff they do on retail is kind of a teeny bit questionable from like a... Maybe it looks a bit pretty, but it's less functional. I don't think... I'm not sure what Chuck's playing. Chuck turns the stream on later and I'll turn my stream on again too. And we'll see, but yeah. Hey, maybe Chuck plans to stream. Chuck's also like really sick at the moment. Should stream. Definitely like a big tournament tomorrow. Keep in mind that how look at that performance here like translates into later on in the season too. So like it the points are very valuable when it comes to getting like the fact that you can make progress towards the next big tournament right now is kind of insane. Even though we're qualified, for example, for this one, being able to be in a really good spot to qualify for the next one as well is nuts. The next one's a 300k tournament, by the way. It's a big tournament. Not that this one's small, but the next one's really big. I'm in a different time zone now. My time zone's pretty shit for our team, to be honest. But I have adjusted my schedule a lot. I'll probably do that again for the next like set of tournaments. So how long does it take? Like how many hours do you think it takes for me to get from 33 through 40? I want to be able to raid before reset on Monday. Is it really slow doing it the way I'm doing it right now? I mean, I can dungeon grind other days. But questing is slow, 100%. Yeah, so they were 40 doing dungeon grind. those guys didn't do, they just did their pre-quest dungeons and then just went straight to dungeons. And dungeons feel fast. Dungeons feel very fast. You're leveling what, once an hour? Is it still hour levels? Would I be done in 7 hours doing dungeon fun? Or is it slower than that? Oh, so I'd be done instantly doing dungeons anyway. I mean, questing has been slow for sure. Oh, BFT's available now? We should try and do that tomorrow at some point for Erin as well. It's big XP for her. I mean, I can come along if you have a spot. I don't know how much I can do. BFD items are good. We already have them all. We farm the fuck out of BFD. Like as a guild. Does it still give XP at 35 and stuff? Is it literally designed in such a way that you can get... Wait, can you get XP? Hang on a sec. You're 34? You're 35. I'm 36. The boss mobs might give XP though. Still. Is 29k a lot? Oh, you're doing it right now at 35 and you got... Oh, wow. I mean, 25% of level is still way fast. It's faster than dungeons then. But you're obviously just gonna get to a point where you just blast it in 1 second. Yeah, but for Aaron, it's big. Yeah, they probably, so when they press sacrifice, they probably get a buff, if I had to guess. I'm pretty sure it'll build up a buff on them, like an aura on them. With that icon. Is there so I have another question. So for Nomergon, can Aaron enter like a little underleveled? I mean, it's pretty tough for her to get the levels that she needs in that time, unless huh? Well, you don't necessarily plan to clear the entire place the first night anyway. She won't be like 27. She'd be like... You'd also be healing, right? Healing actually randomly might not matter as much about being max level. If you're healing, it actually might not... You might not need... Yeah, I don't think it matters in terms of healing. Okay, if you can't answer, you're fucked, obviously, but yeah. Like, healers actually would be... Like, I imagine for healing, you don't scale up like a ton going from 38 to 40 or something, right? It's just get your new relics or glyphs or whatever, and you're good to go. Even sure what I'm farming for at this point. Rocket, just parts? Oh, and Basilisk. Okay, we're gonna stop here, guys, because we're gonna play some games for a bit. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you guys for the insane support today, and always, by the way. I want to thank again before I go Anonymous for the 2 gifted subs. They even Mez the Specs, which was also anonymous, $15 donation. Don't say it Mez with a $20 donation. That was a bit easy to guess. Beat with the 6 gifted subs. Eponymous with a $13.37 donation. Oh, okay, hang on a sec. Chuck is considering streaming. Kojic, buddy, thank you for the 100 gifted subs yesterday, by the way. We're here for 24 hours on Monday this week. Sorry, I'm going to wait one more second. But I guess before I go, if I do go, there's a possibility we're going to, like, Chuck wants to stream. Tooch with 6 gifted subs. Red Herring with the 6 donation. Anonymous with 6 gifted subs as well. And again, that could be multiple anonymouses. I'm not completely sure. Unfortunately, Twitch doesn't give you any way to even guess on that. It just literally says anonymous. So we'll hang out a little bit longer just in case Chuck does want to turn stream on. But Anonymous with the sub to wait, what? Is that Anonymous the thing? It isn't. Bro, imagine having the name Anonymous on Twitch. Guy has 1 trillion followers too, maybe just because of his name. Anonymous linked up to a mouse. Wait, what is this? Oh. Inventory is full. Just looking for rocket car parts. I think that's it now. Right? Oh, wait, and vulture bones? I feel like these are bugged and it shows them even when they're not active. Anonymous is one of those legends. 100%. It's potentially multiple legends. Wait, is Mike coming on a different character as well? Does Mike have 2 characters? What do people think so far of SoD phase 2? Do people is it living up to people's expectations? Oh, there's PvP going on. Eddie, stun him, man. Thank you. Pet is very slow in this version of the game. Here on the right side. Yeah, I respect it, Saul. I do respect it. It's very chill being a hunter. I guess it's kind of chill for every spec, right? Every class is kind of chill. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm very much fine with that. I don't mind it being difficult. I don't personally like. I only, and this is how I've kind of always been with raids. I don't, you know, when I used to prog raid and stuff, I'm not in a rush. The main anxiety I get from like underperforming what people expect is people like other people might not be okay with that and kind of quit and not be, you know, move on to other groups and stuff. Ab knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, I have no idea what's strongest right now.
What do you want to hear repeatedly on the radio this year?
Something that sounds like the music I already listen to, but with different words.
Dunno really. Oh, if it's on, I'll listen to it.
Loud guitars, tattoos, anything else is about.
My next point is going to go into pet movement speed. I feel like Petley just struggles too much.
Wait.
Wait, can you zone in earlier? If you guys are planning to get more people in, all right, they're all here now.
Well, it's pretty good, but you know, I'd need to ask my friends what they think first.
I remember when I saw you at the end of that night. I was looking for some trouble, you were looking alright. Every time you said a word, I was staring at your lips. I don't think I've ever been so close to a love like this. I never met someone like you. I never felt this way.
This is the correct place to get these last couple things. All right, I'm assuming. It's an off-stream angle. Oh no. We're very much in a raid group. All right, I'm gonna turn the stream off now, guys. There's a possibility I turn it on, but I don't think we're doing that at this stage. So I'll let you guys know if I'm back in a little bit. I'll be back in a little bit. But thank you guys again for really insane support today and always. Again, before I go, thank you Anonymous for two more gifted subs. Anonymous for two more gifted subs before that. They who Mez suspects with a $15 donation. Don't say it, Mez with a $20 donation. Beat with 6 gifted subs. Eponymous with $13.37 donation. Tooch with 6 gifted subs. Anonymous with 6 more gifted subs. And Red Herring with a $6.90 donation. And then yesterday I also want to thank Mednip for 30 gifted subs. Kojak for 100 gifted subs. Chrome for 18 gifted subs. And Diva for, I think it was Diva for 10 and Thunder for 10 as well yesterday. And Sunny for 7 actually as well. Thanks for all the support. I will talk to you guys either later on tonight, potentially early tomorrow as well. Night, guys.